Austin, for this game, I don't know if it's similar to game one, game two, even kind of going back to this regular season or last year. The game seems to flip at a certain point against Denver. Have you identified what that mark is, whether tonight or just in general with them, and how do you guys try and find a way to get out of that in game four?
I think if you go back and look at, at least these 3 games in this series, that our third quarter's been atrocious. We've been outscored probably double digits in every one of those third quarters. I want to say we've held a lead at half every one of these games. Like I said, our third quarter's been bad. So if we want to, fight our way back into this one, Saturday we, obviously had to be good for all quarters, but that third quarter especially.
Austin, they had 14 offensive rebounds, which has been a theme in these matchups. How much of that is just them being bigger than you guys, and how much of that is the defensive rotations kind of leading to cross matches where you're trying to box out a Gordon or Jokic, and it's just kind of a mismatch there? Like, what are you seeing, I guess, with the offensive rebounds?
Can't make excuses if, the rotation is that whoever it is, under the goal having to box out Jokic or AG, you got to do your job. And we haven't done that in this series. Second game was much better than, obviously the first one and this one. And like I said, everybody knows they're a good offensive rebounding team with obviously those 2 guys, but you just got to, do your job, and, that's really it.
Austin, kind of a 2-part question. You guys were a really good 3-point shooting team and a really good offensive team during the regular season. In this series, you guys have defended. You probably feel like you've defended well enough to have won a couple of these games. I guess where has the offense vanished? How much of it is process? How much of it is execution? And I guess how frustrating is that for you guys? Like the thing you guys have done best, kind of vanishing here when it's been biggest.
It's super frustrating. Like you said, I know after the trade deadline, even a little before that, our offense was clicking on all cylinders, and we were outscoring people more than we were beating people with our defense. And like you said, this, other than tonight, which, giving up 112 to that team's not bad. Is actually a pretty good defensive, game. But like you said, our offense has struggled, and it's super frustrating. Losing sucks, and that's all anybody should care about in our locker room is us losing right now. It shouldn't be anything else other than that, and that's it.
Austin, there was some talk in the days between 2 and 3 just about the adjustments and game planning and all that kind of next level stuff that comes with a playoff series. How'd you feel going into tonight, just in terms of preparedness and kind of the direction that you guys were given to approach tonight?
Confident. Obviously, losing the first 2 in Denver isn't what you want to do, but in both of those games, we felt like we obviously defended well enough to win those games. Offensive, like I said, was struggling, but we was just thinking if we could put it together on both ends of the court, then we could string together some wins here. And obviously, the offense wasn't good tonight, and super frustrating. But I thought we were well locked into what we were trying to do, and we just didn't execute on the offensive end.
Yeah, piggyback on his question. Denver's making the adjustments and you guys aren't. Is that the case? Is Denver making the adjustments and you guys aren't, the in-game adjustments?
I think Denver's just beating us, to be honest. You can talk about adjustments, you can talk about this and that, but at the end of the day, we got to go put our best foot forward, win basketball games. You can talk about all the, everything else outside the talks of everything, but at the end of the day, you got to man up and go win.
Austin, you talk about those third quarters, and is there an element of pressure that comes when you guys have a lead, no matter how well you're playing, but knowing the inevitability of what Denver can accomplish that might cause you guys to stall offensively?
Nah, I don't feel that, and I don't feel like we feel like that. And to be honest, if I knew the issue, in those third quarters, I'd be the first one happily to fix that. We've got to, be better all around. And like I said, at the end of the day, we got to man up and go win games. I'm done. Thank you.
Gabe, AD and LeBron will go in here once they're dressed.
Hey, Gabe, you just heard Austin talking some about the third quarter, but he said he felt like that was the turning point of these three games. So what have you noticed in that period and just kind of coming out of halftime, where has Denver turned things up? Have things that worked in the first half not? What have you noticed?
I think they just get more detailed. Their execution picks up. They're a little more locked in than we are, I think, when we come out the half. And, we've seen Denver throughout the year. They take advantage of any opportunity. That's credit to them. They're a well-coached team. They play hard. They do things the right way. They play ball the right way. So we got to put together 48 minutes to be a team like this.
Gabe, they had 14 offensive rebounds tonight, and that's been a theme in these matchups. How much of that is like a size thing of just their front line is 6'10" and above? How much of that is you guys not boxing out or the defensive rotations? Like, how do you kind of view that problem of the offensive rebounds and how that's played out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one to really make excuses like that. I think Austin kind of hit on the head. We just got to want it a little bit more. Some of these balls are loose on the floor, 50-50s, or it's in the air. It's an opportunity for either one to get it. It seems like they keep coming up with those balls. And, we feel it, and it happens in the fourth, and we're trying to make a run, but it's throughout the game. Like you said, they have 14 of them. Like, that's a lot. It's a lot of extra opportunities.
Gabe, for the last half of the season, you guys are one of the better offensive and shooting teams in the league. In this series, you guys haven't been able to replicate that offensive success. Does that make this more frustrating? I guess what are you seeing offensively that hasn't clicked so far, especially in the second halves?
Yeah, I mean, we just got to be a little more intentional, I think. I think we get away from what's working sometimes, and we get a little random. And like I said, they start to take advantage of all those opportunities, whether they get a quick rebound and get out and run, or, we just go 3 trips with empty possessions, and they're scoring 3 trips. And the way they play at their pace, so they kind of slow the game down, it can put a lot of pressure on you offensively.
Gabe, before this series started, as a group, you guys had won 12 out of 15, and you were a big part of some of those down the stretch, including the play-in. Obviously, everyone knows Nuggets are the defending champs. Like, there's a built-in respect that comes there. But is there any, I don't know, shock or just the swiftness that, you go from that 5 or 6 days ago, 12 out of 15, and now you're down 3-0 in this series?
No. I mean, it's one game at a time. So, I mean, just last season, I was up 3-0 and ended up in a Game 7. So, crazier things have happened in the playoffs. It's playoff basketball. And, fortunately, we get another chance to play Saturday. And, we get a chance to keep the season extended.
Hey, Gabe. When we saw your last playoffs with Miami Heat to see what an impact you had, and now you were out for such a long time during the whole season, how frustrating is that for you to see, knowing what you're capable of, and still, of course, because of the surgery not being at the point that you still can bring the same effort?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's tough adjusting to a new team, a new situation in general, and you add the surgery and missing, majority of the season. I don't even know what game it is for me now. It's like my 14th or 15th or something like that, but I'm just trying to find ways to impact winning, whatever I can in my minutes out there, and whatever my role may look like or rotation may look like. It's been different kind of game to game, so just doing whatever I can to help us win games and just move the needle in a positive way. Yeah, appreciate y'all.
Guys, I'd asked Austin what he thought was the kind of the difference in the 3 games. He pointed out the third quarter, a pretty big scoring gap in that period. Just wondered what you've noticed at halftime of the 3 games and what's happened in the second half and what that can inform you about heading into game 4.
I feel like we spent so much energy in the first half building leads, or the defensive intensity that we have, that we come out in the third quarter with not much energy, or kind of lose track of attention to detail that we had in the first half. I think a lot of that played into it. And you give credit where credit is due with Denver as well, man. Those guys make tough shot after tough shot after tough shot, and I think that's a lot of things that happened in the third for sure tonight.
For both of you guys, I guess, starting with AD, just you have another game on Saturday. Where do you flip your mindset? And did you say if we do this, and that, maybe we get a different result than we had the last 11 times?
Yeah, I mean, we, a lot of second chance points, offensive rebounds. We gave up 9 in game 2, and they had 9 at halftime. Just got to score, 20 in the second, 22 in the third. A team like that who's going to score, we got to be able to score as well. So I think that's really it. I mean, getting back in transition, defensive rebounding, and just continue to score the basketball.
It's for either of you guys. You guys finished the regular season, the second half of the regular season, as one of the better offensive and shooting teams. That hasn't been as much the case so far this series. Outside maybe the first quarter or so, first half, what's happened? What have you guys seen out there that hasn't, I guess, clicked offensively? It's more so in the second half, or especially in the second half.
Obviously tonight we shot 5 for 27 from the 3-point line. Got some really good looks at times. Sometimes they were, contested shots, but I thought pretty much we generated some really good shots, which is when they were able to knock them down. The regular season and the postseason is 2 different games, 2 different situations. So, what happens in the regular season, obviously you build those habits throughout the regular season, but the game totally changed in the postseason, and we have to, be able to make the adjustment. But we've had some really good looks through 3 games. We've made some, but tonight was not one of those nights.
Guys, has there been any part of you've sensed with the team psychology, like that this isn't just 3-0, that it's bigger because of what they've been able to do against you guys now for, I think, 11 straight games?
No. Our focus and our mental right now is trying to get one. Try to get a game and then go from there. Try to get the game on Saturday, game 4, and go from there. All the talk, however many straight, we can't focus on that. Our focus is trying to get better from tonight, learn from our mistakes, and try to get a win on Saturday. You can't do anything about it, Just in the past, our discussions have been the transition, the rebounding, scoring, keeping our pace, and focusing on game 4.
Hey, Bron, through your career, you faced dynasties, you faced super teams, you faced a bunch of really tough squads. Where do the Denver Nuggets rank in terms of toughest teams you faced?
It's too hard for me to answer that question right now. I probably could sit back at some point and kind of rank the teams in my 20-plus year career about which teams were some of the toughest teams. This team is definitely well-equipped, well-prepared, well-coached. They do not have a weakness offensively. Every guy that they put on the floor, especially their starting lineup, they've been one of the best starting 5s in our league over the last few years. They got shot makers, they have playmakers, they have guys that can rebound and assist and things of that nature. So, it's always, they always try to keep you at bay, but it's definitely one of the, better teams that I've played in my career. But to rank it right now, it'd be too hard. I've played against a lot of great teams. This is a great team, and I've played against a lot.
This question's for either of you, but you mentioned the offensive rebounding 14 tonight. It's been a trend in these matchups the last year plus. What have you noticed in terms of how they're getting offensive rebounds? Is it a size thing where sometimes guards are matched up against their bigs, or what are you seeing in terms of the trends of how they're getting those rebounds?
Sometimes it's the guards on bigger guys, but other times it's just simple boxing out or just going to get it. It's times today where guys miss shots and got their own rebound. I think, everyone is anticipating the other guy going to get it instead of, one of us going to get it. So I think that's where a lot of the rebounds come from. You have some where they shoot long shots and then it goes over our heads and things like that. But for the most part, guys are following their own shots or we're just not boxing out and, they're getting their second chance points like that.
Last two. Ursula?
Hi, LeBron. You've had incredible firsts in your career. First player to score 40K. First player and team to win an in-season tournament. No team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit. How much of a belief is it that you guys can be the first to possibly do so?
I mean, you take it one game at a time at this point, and you lose, you go home. So you come up with the mindset, let's get one, force a game 5, and then we go from there. So as long as you still have life, then you always have belief. I just think you play till the wheels fall off. That's what it's always about for me. That's a mindset, and I know this guy next to me feels the same way.
LeBron, you said in New Orleans that you guys are going to have to play near perfect basketball against this team to win. In that kind of quest for on-court perfection, have you seen guys press? And could that be part of the reason why a good shooting team has 2 games where they're sub 20%? Does sort of the stress and the pressure they put on you and demand, the greatness they demand, do you think that's impacted your guys' ability to meet that?
I don't know. I mean, it's the postseason. We're professionals. You're supposed to have anxiety and pressure or feel the pressure. That's what it's about. This is what the postseason is about. So I don't know how to answer that question. I don't know. I don't know if it's you have to ask the individuals, that question and see how they feel. It's hard for me to be like, this is what I think that guy feels. I can't do that. I'm not a mind reader. I don't know. But this is the postseason. Me and this guy have been playing together for 6 years. We've been to the mountaintop. We've been close to the mountaintop. We've played a lot of games. We know what it takes to win. We know what it takes to win a championship and how, damn near perfect you got to be. That's not like something that's so crazy to obtain. I've been a part of it 4 times where you have to have almost perfect basketball to win, and I've done it with him. So I'm not a guy that you should ask that because I don't feel a way about anybody that don't want to strive to be as close to perfect as possible. And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
What was that got away from you flipping this game, and what did you think the main reason was?
Just in the second quarter, we had some, we had some good looks that just didn't go down. They got loose, they saw some go in, and it carried over into the third quarter. So good point blank shots where guys that are off, missing shots that normally make, and that's the way the game goes, a make or miss league. And when you can't get a bucket and they're scoring, they're on the run, it's tough. Like we have to keep the scoreboard moving.
Coach, what is your level of anger and or disappointment because you couldn't accomplish those things that you were just trying to do?
I mean, you just got to put guys in a position where they're in their sweet spots, they're getting looks, and again, just hope they're in a good rhythm and things go down. For a little while there, we had only made 1 3, then it was a long time that we only had made 2. We guarded their 3-point line well. The offensive rebounds definitely played a part for them, and those guys getting themselves together, getting back on balance, giving up second and third opportunities for them to get buckets, get good looks at the rim. But you have to attack each possession. You have to be competitive, have competitive pride, and attack each possession. You're gonna miss shots, but you got to move on to the next play. One thing about this team that we've been really doing very good at over the last couple of months is having a next play mentality. Moving on to the next play, giving multiple efforts, but it's tough. It's tough. We got to figure out a way to get one on Saturday to stay alive.
Darvin, in the third quarter, it seemed like after Jokic picked up, I think that 4th foul or third foul or whatever, that you guys you tried to attack him, and I think it went missed layup, turnover. How much of that is sort of just the pressure that maybe your team feels to be perfect or close to perfect against them. And have you felt that maybe tighten up your guys at all through this series?
Yeah, I just think the disappointment, in this team having the type of run they've had against our ball club, I think is just a lot of disappointment, and we have to do a better job of staying focused, staying positive throughout it all, because again, you have those disappointment moments, those what we call disappointment lags. That disappointment can spill over to 2, 3, 4 possessions, and you see that someone makes a mistake, we drop our heads, we start jogging back instead of sprinting. But we have to fight through all of that. This is a hell of a team. They're the defending champs for a reason. Been saying it since day one. They push you to the limit in order to try to beat them. So you got to be ready for that fight, possession by possession.
What did you see from D'Angelo tonight, and what's the plan / message for him going forward into Game 4?
It's unfortunate, man. He had some good looks that he just didn't knock down. It's as simple as that. Similar to Game 1, he was able to bounce back in Game 2, and I expect him to bounce back in Game 4.
Darvin, pregame you mentioned your conversation with Rui about not overthinking things. How did you feel like he played tonight? And I guess what's the message moving forward for him?
Just, the same thing. He has to play with joy. He has to keep things simple. As long as he's aggressive, whenever he keeps it simple, he's aggressive on both sides of the ball, needing him to attack the glass, attack the paint, get out in transition, run, as he did early on in the game. If he's open for 3, let it go, make a quick decision. But the little things, just his awareness and aggressiveness, whether he's double teaming, whether he's the MIG, baseline help, or whether he's going to get a defensive rebound. Just want him aggressive in all facets of the game.
Coach, going back to D'Lo, when he's missing from deep like he did tonight, is there any emphasis in this game to get him to get some easier buckets, whether closer to the basket, some straight line drives, anything like that?
Yeah, we encourage him all the time to attack downhill. Don't hesitate. A lot of times he's in pick and roll with Bron or A, and the defense is so worried, back and forth playing the cat and mouse game. He has opportunities to get all the way downhill to the rim. But he's a scorer. He's a natural scorer. And so he knows how to get himself going. It's just like tonight, it wasn't a night.
Darvin, to your left, obviously history isn't on your side as a team that's down 0-3 in the series. What can you tell the team, or what do you tell the team in a situation so they don't come into Game 4, I guess, with the mental or emotional aftermath of Game 3?
It's as simple as, win or go home. It's as simple as that. We got to come with competitive pride, try to get one here, stay alive. It's one game at a time. That's all we have is the next game. And so that's all we should be concerned with. Coming in here Saturday, having competitive pride, try to put this thing together and try to get us one.
Darvin, you guys lost the lead, cut it to 4, and then I think it was a quick 8-0 run by Denver in that moment. Obviously, you got to give some credit to the opponent. Why are they so good in those moments? What makes it so hard to defend them in those moments over the last couple of years in the playoffs?
I think it's just, they have the championship confidence. That starting unit has been together for a long time, and been through some wars together. Their net rating is off the charts as a starting group. And they have playmakers. They have guys that step up and make plays. And the biggest thing I think is understated is they do the little things. They crash the offensive glass. They screen hard, physical, consistently. And they have guys that come out and make plays for one another. It's as simple as that. And when you have that type of chemistry, it's tough. It's tough. They don't settle. They come out and they impose their will on the game on both sides of the ball. Even they may not be top 5 defense or whatever it is, but or whatever. They're systemic way that they cover for one another and they bring help and do all of this, and they make up for different guys' shortcomings through energy and activity. And that's just another example of their chemistry and how they bonded over these last couple of years. Thanks, Coach. Yep.